Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Supergirl issue 16, written by Sophie Campbell, with art by Joe Quinones and Paolo Villanelli, colors by Arif Puritano, and letters by Josh Reed and Becca Carey. The Kingdom of ZOD begins right here as the Eradicator archive is accessed, finding the files on General Drew Zod and New Kandor, Zod's new home, where he set up a new legacy for Krypton, but invaders came and waged war with him, bringing down his new dynasty when his city and planet were destroyed and his wife Ursa was killed. Now all of this stuff is actually chronicled in the Kneel Before Zod book, something which is a must read for this event, and you'll find a big breakdown in the link at the end of this video for it. In the present, off the coast of El Caldero, Supergirl thinks about the sun crystal she can feel, the power of it getting stronger as she itches closer to the Kryptonite kingdom. She wonders if this is worth endangering her friends over, knowing that they are capable, but this is all moving so suddenly. She pushes the thoughts to the back of her mind as the helicopter transporting her and the others approaches El Caldero. Kara believes they're all going to be different after this, remembering how this all started when a Kryptonite asteroid that Superman managed to stop landed on Earth. But in the fallout, a new country called El Caldero sprang up, its economy running on Kryptonite and Kryptonite sales, all stemming from the giant meteor that landed within its borders. Kara thinks about the radioactivity of the Kryptonite, since while it's harmful to Kryptonians, it can't be good for humans either. Along with the Kryptonite, El Caldero and its president now have access to artifacts from Krypton, something which should not be in the hands of any Earthlings, let alone self-proclaimed Kryptonite kings like President Castillo. So far, the book is doing a great job catching up people who might not be reading all of the Superman family books, specifically Supergirl and Superman Unlimited, which all of this story is kind of birthing out of. Getting it all caught up in one page is great. It's great use of page time. It's right to the point and lets you know what you need to know without getting bogged down in specifics. Kara thinks of the sun crystal again and how it's her birthright, but it's very dangerous and it's a piece of technology that they need to take from El Caldero, and they need to help the nation adjust to having kryptonite, since if it's misused, many lives could be lost. And with Superman now missing, negotiations for the Kryptonite kingdom have fallen on Supergirl. Kara finds recent events are complicating the matter too, since Lois Lane recently had superpowers and now they are unstable, fading in and out at random. And to make matters worse, the Kryptonites and their king are becoming bolder and more aggressive, so she is going to need all the help she can get from the Superman family, since she is going to finish what Superman started as the heir to the House of El. So there's one little interesting tidbit here, and it's kind of a nitpick on my part, but in Supergirl issue 15, Kara started with a new costume. Her costume is now sort of like a super substance symbiote that is a living being, and she changed it into the costume we see on this page. However, for the rest of the book and for the rest of this event, she seems to be in a more classical Supergirl costume with the skirt and the high boots and everything. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the point of giving her a new costume if you're just going to immediately go back to the old one was for. It's quite strange, and I'm not entirely sure why that was the case. I don't know whether that was just something that was mandated, or, just to have, we had the Supergirl movie now she's leading this event. It's a bit more of a classic look for her, maybe. But it's just so weird that Campbell did all this work to give her a new costume, a cool new costume and then has to immediately go back to a more classic Supergirl look. As I said, it's a nitpick on my part. It doesn't particularly matter. You still know it's Supergirl, but it's just strange that she'd have one in the last issue and then immediately change it up in this issue. 7 hours before heading to El Caldero, Superboy and Superboy Prime get into a violent fight with one another in Lois's apartment, with Prime trying to stop Connor since he's really sorry about their past. Supergirl tries to break it up, knowing that she has to step up now that Clark is not there. Tomorrow Man and Thunder Girl meanwhile try and get Lois to safety and keep the people in the streets below safe as Connor blasts Prime with his heat vision, telling him that he doesn't believe the villain is reformed. Prime knows that he's trying to be better and he's on a redemption arc as Kara tries to pull them apart, telling them that they have bigger problems to deal with now, but Connor refuses to listen, coming at Prime again. I'm glad Connor and Prime are airing their grievances now. It's a very long time coming and something Joshua Williamson has been building up to in his Superman ongoing. Having seen some previews of some future issues of the Kingdom of Zod event, I do know that they team up a little bit, and I like that that's where this story is headed. They're kind of being being forced together in an uneasy alliance, and they'll come out the other side kind of respecting one another and kind of having learnt something from each other. They are definitely two of the characters I am most interested to see across this event and where it lands them after it. Supergirl whistles and Krypto comes to her aid, stopping the fight and jumping excitedly all over Prime, which Connor takes note of since the dog is usually a pretty good judge of character. Kara tells Connor to knock it off and pull himself together since she is trying hard to fill Cal's shoes, and him fighting with Prime is not making it easy. Connor relents as Prime reminds him that sometimes heroes fight, and then they team up, but Kara shuts him up too, telling the Superboys that they have work to do. As they return to Lois's apartment, they find from Lois that a coup has happened in El Caldero, and the new leader wishes to speak with her specifically. Lois finds it hilarious that President Castillo banned her and the Daily Planet from El Caldero, and now the new regime wants her back, as Supergirl tells her that they won't let her go alone. Lois knows this is obviously a trap, and Kara agrees, figuring this is the perfect cover to get them all into El Caldero and within reach of the Sun Crystal. John reminds Kara that the place is literally built out of kryptonite and will kill them, so Kara agrees to keep the Kryptonians to a minimum on the mission, having some idea about how to do that. Kara really stepping up to be the main character of this event is brilliant. She is often either left out of big events or has a very small role relegated to the tie-ins, but her taking on a much more central role, especially after her Candor adventure being about coming together and working together as one, is great. And as someone who followed Supergirl's ongoing and Campbell's writing in it, it's incredibly rewarding to see that begin to pay off here. Supergirl sets out a task for everyone, telling John to go and see John Henry, Lana, and Natasha at Steelworks and get them ready, since they might need backup, and they have been studying the new altered kryptonite from El Caldero. Krypto gets a surprisingly important job too, told to head to the Fortress of Solitude and build a special vault to house the Kryptonian relics from El Caldero in. Before Kara finishes her directions, she hears a muffled voice speak out to her, and when no one else hears it, she puts it to the back of her mind, introducing the Super Family to her new team, the Super Force. The team ask what their role will be, and Lena Luthor reveals that she has some new tech for them all, anti-kryptonite force fields. There is a downside though, as they only last 1 hour before they need to be recharged in yellow sunlight, so they'll have to make them count. Kara activates her armband, telling the others to recharge it. They have to get away from kryptonite and give the solar battery a chance to kick in. Superboy wants to know how they're actually going to get into the Kryptonite Palace, since they all instantly are recognizable to anyone in El Caldero. Kara has the perfect idea for that too, giving the group disguises to make them look like a totally normal Daily Planet film crew. I really like that this has become a staple of Campbell's run on Supergirl, the cool alternate costumes and looks for all of the characters. They're not just always in their super suits, they get a wild variety of costumes across her run. Kara tells Connor and Prime to leave their baggage at the door as they head off in a chopper towards El Caldero. As they approach the Kryptonite Kingdom, Kara asks if Thundergirl is okay, and the clone is very direct and only says she is, before going back to her own little space in her head. Kara thinks that Thundergirl is so shy and distant and can't blame her after everything she went through in Candor, but she still wants to help the clone figure out who she is meant to be. She checks in with Phantasmagoria, knowing that it's okay to be scared, but the ghostly hero assures Kara she's fine, since she's just an ectoplasmic projection, so even if she is blown up 1,000,000 times, she'll be fine, as her real body is back safe in her room in Midvale. Kara tells her that she is on edge a little bit, hoping that they can actually complete this mission in one piece. Lana meanwhile talks with Lois, explaining that she's trying to be a bit more direct and honest and have no secrets with other people, revealing that she actually knows where Lois's superwoman powers came from, at least sort of, and has known this entire time, but was told by Mercy Graves to keep it a secret, since the powers didn't come from the super armor like Lois thought. They aren't Lois's powers at all. Lena tries to explain what quantum entanglement is, but Supergirl rushes her, so she explains that the super armor was designed to send quantum filaments into deep space, and it did, and it hit some other Kryptonian and transferred their powers to Lois on a subatomic level. So this is something as readers we have known for a very long time. Lois ended up getting getting General Zod's powers and was actually the reason I thought this entire thing would be kicking off, with him coming to Earth looking for them. But it's now only one piece of a larger puzzle, and I quite like that. I do like that they did keep the mystery going and are working it into the story again, since this is something that was set up way back at the end of Absolute Power and into the Superman ongoing. Lois appreciates Lena for being honest, and Connor is proud of his sister as the team dress in their disguises and the chopper lands in El Caldero. The group activate their K-shields as they are led through the Kryptonite City by one of the Kryptonites. Connor and Prime get into a small argument over keeping distance from each other, but Kara stops the family as they come face to face with General Zod, who knows he and Lois are cosmically drawn to each other. Lena tells the team that they are not prepared for this, but Kara assures her that they are, not knowing how Zod got to Earth. They don't need to fight. Lois doesn't think talking will get them out of this one, as Zod grabs Lois with an unknown energy. The heroes are surrounded by the Kryptonites as Zod touches Lois, telling her that his powers are within her, but he still controls them, turning Lois into his puppet, who blasts the super family with heat vision, as Zod proclaims that this will be the first of many puppets he'll use to exact revenge against Kal-El and his family. Now this is an interesting turn of events, since I just figured Zod would find a way to steal the powers back and, he'd be back to General Zod wreaking havoc and everything. But I quite like this. It's using Lois as a super-powered puppet. That's way cooler than just taking the powers from her. It means Lois gets a role in the event, a bigger role than she would usually get. She isn't going to be sidelined or constantly in peril and unable to actually do anything. It does, however, mean she has become kind of a MacGuffin, in that she has something that the villain wants and the heroes need to keep it from him. So she's kind of MacGuffin-y at the moment, and I'm wondering how long that will actually last. Lena tells the family that Zod has control over Lois through his powers on a quantum level. On top of the powers, Lois now is weak to kryptonite, and since she didn't have a K-shield, since she didn't need one, she could die. Supergirl tries to come up with a way to help Lois as the rest of the family battle the kryptonites, one of which almost kills Prime, but Connor saves him, surprising Prime. Connor doesn't want to make a big deal out of it since it doesn't make them even. The Superforce join the battle, driving back the Knights, but as the K-shields begin to drain more and more, Zod grabs Lois again, telling Kara that whatever truces their houses once had in the past is over, and while he is powerless, he came prepared, revealing the Eradicatrix, who attacks Kara. A new Eradicator is a bit of fun. There's been something of a resurgence of Eradicators recently, as we got a new one over in My Adventures with Superman as well. I do like it's a female one though, and that kind of sort of raises some questions to me, like, is this Zod trying to bring back his wife, Ursa, who died? Because when she was killed, he put her in a rocket that was very much like Kal-El's rocket and sent her off the planet before it was destroyed. And inside that rocket was the Eradicator archives as well, so I wonder if maybe Eradicator has resurrected her body and is living within her body now or something. Seems to be where it might be going, because I have a feeling Ursa is going to come back in some way in this storyline. Supergirl keeps the Eradicatrix at bay as she hears the muffled voice again, this time telling her that she will win and they can help her. She realizes it's coming from inside the Sun Crystal as Zod ties Lois to the Eradicator mainframe, telling her that it will untangle their shared quantum state and his powers will be returned to him. While he waits for the mainframe to finish its coding, he decides to move on with phase 3 of his plan, pressing a red button which creates a giant kryptonite shield around El Caldero, sealing the superheroes inside away from yellow sunlight as their K-shields tick down to 0. Supergirl issue 16 was a fantastic opening issue to the Kingdom of Zod event, building off of everything Sophie Campbell, Dan Slott, Joshua Williamson, and Dan McDade did in their respective Superman family and Zod family books. It does take a moment to get going since there is a lot of stuff to cover and converge together, especially for new readers, but Sophie Campbell does it effectively where I think even new readers can come in and not get lost of where everything is. I'm excited to see Zod make his grand return and cannot wait to see what his plans are for the Superman family and for Earth. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.